This is Minecraft Hardcore, where anything could happen at any time. And here's my perfect start in Minecraft Hardcore. First thing I did after taking a look around was finding food. Ruin portal spotted. On the mountain there was some spruce and coal, so I quickly collected. I looked around more before night fell. Cave spotted. After a bit of walking around, I encountered a village. Of course, I made sure to borrow their food and loot the chests. The chests were mid at best, holding only armor and tools. Looking around a bit more, I found two perfect spots where I could stay. I decided to stick with the second spot and make it my home. I put down my stuff and began exploring. So you're probably wondering why I have so many ladders. That's because I'm going strip mining. While mining, I did come across the new cave biome, but I'm not really sure where it is. Mining down a bit more, I encountered a cave, but it only had lava and led nowhere. I spent around 2 days strip mining just to only find a few diamonds. I mined up some of the obsidian and went back up. On the surface, I started farming and planting down the sugar cane. After finishing up on the surface, I went back into the caves and discovered where the new cave biome was. I played around with the new cube things, then went back caving. I collected a few blocks from the geode as they would be useful in building my house. After finishing up, I continued mining on Y level 15 and discovered a different cave. This was one of those large caves with multiple entrances and passages. cave had a zombie spawner which I could use for XP later. In the future, I'd probably want to collect one of these cube things and bring one to the surface. I almost died a few times during this caving session and had to box up multiple times. Back on the surface, I organized the items into a chest and began harvesting the sugarcane so I could make an enchanting table. At the time, I could only afford to make 3 bookshelves, which I used to give my tools basic enchants. Now it was time to start building the foundation. It took a while to get the dimensions right, but I eventually got it. Even after mining out such a large area, I still wasn't sure of the dimensions, and I started mining again. While building, I realized the crops had grown and I could now harvest them. I also chopped down some of the trees I planted earlier and made sure to replant them for later. Next was smelting materials for the base. While looking for new wood types, I discovered a village and looted it for its bookshelves and wheat. Another one of the things I found was a lush cave I could explore later. I collected a lot more spruce saplings cause the ones back home were taking way too long. Under the azalea tree, I collected the rooted dirt which I could use to build paths later. I kinda got lost and started wandering, which led to another village which I quickly looted and stole their food. I continued wandering and found another village. Eventually I made it back home and began mining. Part of the reason I was mining was to get materials for building. I forgot to record, but off camera I went to multiple biomes and farmed up saplings. On day 28, I began building an animal farm and a wheat farm. Next was getting animals into the farm. I decided the wheat farm was a bit too small and continued working on it, making sure to feed the animals and collect the sugarcane as I worked. After getting the simple things done, I knew it was now time to start building. I began by building up columns to get the general idea of the build, tweaking the design until I liked it. This process was a mess. It involved me expanding the build and tearing down sections, doing this multiple times until I got it right, which took multiple days. Next was the second floor. I made a few supports, then attached logs and connected them, also adding more supports in between. The frame of the build was looking good, and it was now time to work on the roof. But before that, I turned on shaders and collected the crops. I also set up a temporary storage for the wheat. It was lagging a lot, so I turned off the shaders and continued. I replanted the crops, then started work on the roof. I liked the design of the smaller roof right away and moved on to the second, much larger roof. Falling from the roof was a major risk while building, so I placed water on the floor. For some reason, I didn't show the clip of me finishing the roof. I wanted to mine out the first floor and set up the first layer. This surprisingly took a long while because I was trying to figure out how replay mod works. Next was getting the wall design down. After trial and error, I got the design of the entrance done. Since I already knew the general idea, I just copied and pasted the walls with a few tweaks. The build was looking great, so I moved on to filling in the roof. I started working on the floor, where I nearly died to a witch. The floor was done, and I moved on to decorating the entrance. Off camera, I added a few chests and decorated the pillars. I put the staircase to the upstairs in the middle of the room to section off the area. I added fences and upside down stairs to the underside of the staircase, then moved on to the floor of the second story, using a checkerboard pattern with oak and spruce. I gave the first story some pillars to divide the area and smoothen out the shape with arches. Next, I used colored glass to fill in the windows. I ended up swapping out the gray colored glass for white colored glass. I would want to add things to the three empty areas of the house. I added a fireplace made of brick and a kitchen, and in the center I added a workshop. Moving on to the upstairs, I made some walls from stripped oak and did the same things to the attic and the other side. Next, I made a ceiling for the upstairs and started working on one side of the roof. I used stripped oak for the attic and left a space for a window in the center. I moved on to the other side of the roof and textured it. Off camera, I added a balcony to the house and it was now finished. I did a few more simple chores around the house like clearing out the bees, removing the mycelium patches, terraforming, and creating paths. Then decorating said path with bone meal and lanterns, even including a camp area.